Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. 8 billion people on the planet, the numbers are simple. Most people will never own even one full Bitcoin. But here's what's strange. While the price just crashed over 50%, one specific group of buyers is spending billions buying more. So what do they understand that most people don't? And what does it mean for anyone who waits to figure this out? I'm David, and I help professionals and retirees protect their wealth with Bitcoin. I spent years at the company that secures more Bitcoin than anyone on earth. And once you understand the supply math behind Bitcoin, you'll know why they treat every crash as a discount, not a danger. So in this video, I'm going to show you why Bitcoin's 21 million cap cannot change, why the real number is millions lower, and why every month you wait, owning even a fraction becomes harder. Let's start with the most misunderstood fact in finance. When people hear there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, they hear a promise, like a politician 1 week before an election. That's not what this is, and the difference matters. Imagine you own a gold mine. In the first year, you pull 50 tons of gold out of the ground. But every 4 years, the mine produces exactly half as much. 50 becomes 25, 25 becomes 12. Eventually, the mine produces nothing. That's how Bitcoin works. Every 10 minutes, new Bitcoin is created as a mining reward. But every 4 years, that reward gets cut in half. It started at 50 Bitcoin per block in 2009, then 25, then 12.5, and right now it's 3 1/8. Follow that forward, the halvings keep going until the reward rounds down to 0, around the year 2140. The total Bitcoin ever to be created, just under 21 million. This isn't a campaign promise. It's mathematics embedded in code. And that code has been running without interruption, without a single change to the supply schedule for over 17 years. But you might be thinking code can be changed. Software gets updated all the time. So what actually stops someone from just rewriting it? This is the question every smart skeptic asks. And it's the right question, because if the 21 million cap could be changed, everything I just said falls apart. So, can it? To understand why not, think about email. You send emails every day without thinking about it. Gmail talks to Outlook. Outlook talks to Yahoo. It all works because every email provider in the world runs the same underlying protocol, the same set of rules for how messages get sent and received. Now imagine someone decided they wanted to change that protocol. They want emails to work differently. Well, they can't just update their own system, because if they do, they can't send or receive emails from anyone else. And that's how Bitcoin works. It's a protocol. And the 21 million cap is one of its core rules. To change it, you would need everyone on the network, millions of computers run by miners, node operators, and holders, to all agree to switch to new rules. And that's not gonna happen. If you bought Bitcoin assuming its supply was fixed, would you voluntarily agree to dilute your share? No, and neither would anyone else. Bitcoin's supply depends on math, backed by the most powerful force in economics, self-interest. It's bulletproof. So Bitcoin's supply is fixed at 21 million. It's written in the code. It can't be changed. But most people hear that number and think it sounds like plenty. But it's not. And once you see why, you can't unsee it. Here's another number, 2,872. Sounds random, right? But that's the number of blocks on the island of Manhattan. That's all there is. Nobody's making more. And on top of those almost 2,900 blocks, an entire global financial center was built. Skyscrapers, hundreds of floors of commerce, all stacked on top of a tiny fixed piece of land. Bitcoin is the same structure. 21 million coins. That's the base layer. And on top of it, an entire digital economy is being built. Payment networks, financial infrastructure, an entirely new monetary system, a network that lets you send value anywhere on Earth to anyone at any time with no middleman. The base layer stays fixed. What gets built on top has no ceiling. Except Manhattan has a 2,872 blocks for one city. Bitcoin has 21 million coins for 8 billion people and a $1,000 trillion global economy. That's what 21 million actually means. It's not a big number. It's a tiny foundation with an entire future economy being built on top of it. Now imagine I told you that number, the one that already sounds impossibly small, is actually wrong. That the real supply is millions less than that. While I'm making this video, the 20th million Bitcoin is about to be mined. That's over 95% of all the Bitcoin that'll ever exist, already out there. Only about 1 million are left to come, and they'll trickle out over the next 100 years. But a huge portion of those 20 million coins are already gone, permanently. Researchers estimate between 3 and 4 million Bitcoin are lost forever. Forgotten passwords, hard drives in landfills, early wallets from 2009 and 2010 that no one can access anymore. Satoshi Nakamoto's original coins, roughly 1 million Bitcoin, haven't moved once since they were mined, and they may never move. So the real circulating supply isn't 21 million, it's closer to 60 million. And that number only goes down because coins keep getting lost and the new supply is slowing to almost nothing. No other asset works like this. Gold miners pull thousands of tons of gold out of the ground every year. Companies issue shares whenever they want. Governments print currency at will. Bitcoin's the only asset whose effective supply is actually shrinking over time. And that's what makes a 50% price drop look completely different when you understand the supply. The price changed. The scarcity didn't. If anything, it got tighter while everyone was panicking. So roughly 16 million Bitcoin is actually available, shrinking every day. Now, who's trying to buy them? Because when you see the other side of this equation, you'll realize you're already in a race. You just didn't know it yet. There are about 60 million millionaires in the world right now. Not billionaires, millionaires. People with a net worth of over $1 million. Even if every millionaire on earth wanted just one Bitcoin. Just one. There aren't enough. Nearly 4 times more millionaires than available coins. And let's be honest, really wealthy people aren't buying just one. And these aren't hypothetical buyers. Remember the crash from the start of this video? Bitcoin drops over 50%. And Strategy, one single company, bought Bitcoin every single week through the entire thing. With multiple billion-dollar weeks. They now hold over 720,000 Bitcoin. That's more than 3% of all the Bitcoin that'll ever exist. Billions of dollars flowed into Bitcoin through ETFs alone in 2025. The United States has formally established a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund invested hundreds of millions. El Salvador buys 1 Bitcoin every single day. Bhutan is mining Bitcoin. Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund, South Korea's National Pension Fund, the Swiss National Bank, all have Bitcoin exposure. Every coin that gets locked away by a company, a government, or a fund is one fewer coin available for everyone else. This is exactly why those buyers from the intro don't panic during a crash. A 50% drop doesn't change the supply. It doesn't create new coins. It doesn't unlock the lost ones. It doesn't stop Strategy from buying every single week. All it does is lower the price. And while most people see a crash and freeze, these buyers see the same 16 million coins at half the price, with more competition arriving every month. So they're not panicking, they're accelerating. Now, if you're hearing all this and thinking, well, if the math is that tight and institutions are hoarding, what chance do I have? I want to address that directly, because that's the wrong takeaway. Every Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million units called Satoshis. You don't need to buy a whole coin any more than you need to buy a whole bar of gold. The point of understanding Bitcoin's scarcity isn't to feel like you've missed out. It's to understand what you're actually holding. The only asset in human history with a supply that is mathematically fixed, verifiably scarce, and getting tighter every single day. Gold keeps getting mined. Shares keep getting diluted. Currency keeps getting printed. Bitcoin can't be any of those things. Bitcoin is 21 million, forever. The question isn't whether you can afford Bitcoin, it's what percentage of your wealth should be in it. And that depends on how deeply you understand what you own. The deeper you go, the more conviction you build. And the more conviction you build, the more you'll want to allocate. If you're at that point, if the math makes sense and you're ready to act, I built the Bitcoin Blueprint to walk you through exactly how. How to buy safely, how to hold Bitcoin securely, and how to build a starter position. The link's in the description. And if you're not subscribed yet, you should be. Now, you've seen the supply math, but what does that actually mean for the price over the next 5 to 10 years? I break down the most rational framework for thinking about where Bitcoin goes from here in this video right here.